Halloween, a spooky night filled with scary stories, terrifying horror films, and gruesome fancy dress. It's a huge night, especially for Americans and British people. But why do we celebrate Halloween? What's the history behind it all? Well, that's what I'll be covering today, in as short as time as I possibly can without simplifying it too much. So, sit down, grab some popcorn, and get ready for a horrifying history of Halloween. To find the origins of Halloween, we must travel back in time to over 2,000 years ago in Gaul, modern-day France, Ireland, and Britain. It was these areas of the Western Hemisphere that, around the 2nd or 1st century BC, a group of farming peoples known as the Celts lived and farmed the land. These Celtic people had a very different calendar system to the one we're all familiar with in today's world, with their New Year's Day falling on November the 1st. It was on this day, with summer at an end and the harvest over, that winter began, making it cold and dark. Because of these dark and cold conditions, this time of the year was commonly associated with death among the Celtic peoples. So, on October the 31st, the night before their New Year's Day, the Celtic people of Gaul, Ireland, and Britain, under the guidance of their priests known as Druids, would light enormous and magnificent bonfires and burn their crops and animals as sacrifices to the Celtic gods, all while dressed as ghosts, all while wearing animal heads and skins in order to ward off evil spirits, in what was known in Celtic as the Festival of Samhain. Why did they need to ward off evil spirits? Well, because the Celts believed that on their New Year's Eve, the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead became blurred, enabling ghosts and spirits to return to our world and haunt their people. By the Middle Ages, Christianity was spreading its influence on a global scale, and by the 9th century AD, it inevitably reached the Celtic lands. However, rather than rejecting Christianity, the Celtic peoples decided to blend certain Christian elements into their ancient rites and rituals. Influence went the other way too, as not only did the Celts begin merging with Christianity, but the Church too dedicated November the 2nd to All Souls' Day, in which people were to honour the dead. Much like the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, All Souls' Day saw huge bonfires, parades, and people dressing up in costumes, though this time in costumes of saints, angels, and devils. This Christian festival was also coined All Hallows, with the night before it, the traditional night of the Celtic Samhain, being termed All Hallows Eve, which is where the term we use today, Halloween, comes from. Much later, during the colonial era of New England, Protestantism was massively favoured in this area. Protestants believed that things such as fun, dancing, music, and other forms of entertainment were sinful, and so Halloween was not really celebrated. However, in areas such as Maryland and the southern colonies, Halloween was extremely popular. Colonial Halloween festivities saw the introduction of sharing stories of the dead with neighbours, dancing, singing, and fortune-telling, due to the customs and beliefs of the different European ethnic groups and American Indians blending together. That's all super fascinating, but there's one thing I haven't covered. Why do we trick or treat? Well, we have the Americans to thank for that. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Americans, influenced by European traditions, began to dress in scary costumes and walk house to house asking for food or money, which, as time went on, eventually became trick or treat, with sweets and chocolate instead of money, of course. And there you have it, a super duper condensed history of Halloween. But before you go, here's 5 random fun facts about Halloween. 1. Did you know that more people are buying Halloween costumes for their pets than they are for themselves? Yep, sounds ridiculous, but seriously, in the year 2021 alone, Americans spent roughly $500 million on pet costumes, which is more than double for 2010. 2. Around the 1700s, single women created Halloween traditions that were allegedly supposed to help them meet their future husbands. How? By throwing apple peels over one of their shoulders with the hope of seeing the initials of their future partner in the pattern they made when the peels landed, of course. In fact, women during this time even used to stand in a dark room with just a mere candlelight before them and look in front of a mirror with the hopes of seeing their future husband's face on the other side of the reflection. Ugh, creepy. 3. The fastest pumpkin carving ever by Stephen Clark of New York in 2013 was done in just 16.47 seconds. Wow. 4. The most popular costume for kids on Halloween is a superhero outfit, while adults most frequently dress as witches. For dogs in 2019, the most popular costume was a pumpkin. Pretty cute. 5. And finally, the idea of carving pumpkins originated in Ireland, where people would carve jack-o'-lanterns out of turnips, potatoes, and beetroots. Once Halloween became massively popular in America, people used the local produce, such as pumpkins, instead, and the rest is history. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to subscribe for more awesome history videos like this one. And if you have anything you'd like me to cover on the channel, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to look into it for a future video. Have a great day, everyone!